Hey, Vincent here. Welcome to another CAD tutorial. Today we'll be modeling Too Tall Toby's 240116, the transport hanger. And like always, we'll take a look at the diagram and decide on a plan before we get started. So let's jump into the diagram. So looking at the drawing, basically there is two profiles that we're going to be working with. We're going to be working with a side profile, and then we're going to be working with a front profile. So to start things off, how I did this model is I worked on the side profile and I modeled out this cylindrical shape. Afterwards, I would extrude it and then switch to the front profile to model out this bottom piece over here. Next, I would then model out this cylinder piece with the hole. Then I would do the fin. Afterwards, I would model out this chin from the front. So like over here, this chin over here. Then I would do the top, and then the hole through the top, and then similarly a hole through this piece over here. And that's pretty much the approach that I took to model this piece. One thing to note, however, it's pretty important to figure out what the origin will be. And so for this model, I used this circle over here, this point over here, as the point of origin, because if you can see from the drawing, there's a lot of things that are relative to this origin. So here you can see that there's a 60 millimeter offset is relative to that origin, and then there's also this 155 millimeter offset that's also relative to the origin. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started in the software. So in Alibre, like I mentioned, the first thing I'm going to do is switch to the side profile. So I'm going to rotate the camera to the right. I'm going to create a new sketch on this YZ plane. And from the drawing, it says that there is for the circle, I'm going to use this circle tool. And from the origin, it says that there's a diameter of 95. So I'm going to enter in 95. And next thing, there's also says there's this 55 millimeter through hole. So I'm going to use the circle tool again. And from the center, I click and then enter in 55. And I'm done with my sketch. From here, I'll go to the extrude tool. And for the type, I'm going to select mid-plane. And I'm going to enter in 53 as the depth and click OK. Next thing that I'll do is I'm going to model things from the front view. But in order to do that, we need to create a plane that is offset to the correct position to model that piece. So here I'm going to use the plane tool. And for insert a plane, I am going to select the XY plane to be relative off of. And for the distance, I'm going to enter in 25 and then press apply. I'm going to close out of that, and now I can create a sketch on this plane. So from here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to project this this face, create a reference figure, and maintain association. So that's something for me to reference. And here, let's see, from the front profile, I need to create an arc. So here it says there's an arc of 37 with a radius of 37.5. So that's what I'm going to do. So using the arc tool, I'm just going to select anywhere for now, create that arc first, and then add the dimensions in now. So here, pressing, I'm going to use the dimension tool, add that. For the radius, I'm going to specify 37.5. I'm going to make it so it is vertically aligned with the center of the existing model. So using the vertical constraint, I click on the center over there and then the center of our arc, and now it's vertically aligned. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw in. Actually, before I do that, I can also add the distance between the center of the existing piece to the center of this arc. So using the dimension command, I click on the center, click on those two centers, and add in 155 millimeters as the distance. Now I'm actually going to go in and draw in the remaining shape. So using the line tool, I can click on one side, click over here, and then notice how it goes up. I will add the tangent constraint in a bit, or if I'm careful enough, you can see that on the screen there's already a tangent constraint that's added for me if I'm careful with the way I'm drawing things. With the line tool, if I'm careful enough, it automatically adds that tangent constraint with me, which is what I want. I'm also going to make sure you can see like it's adding the tangent constraint, but then it also gives me this dotted line. This this automatically shows that if I add the point here, it will be right at the intersection of which a vertical line can be drawn to the existing model, and it will be exactly vertical, which is what I want. So I want this tangent, and I want the tangent constraint as well as this dotted line to appear. I'm gonna click on that once. I can draw up to this point over here and click again, go across, go back down, and if I'm careful enough, I can make it so, let's see. It's okay. Make sure that it's parallel, and then I can draw to this to complete the sketch. So using the horizontal constraint, we want to make sure things are mirrored. So I'm going to select this left side and this right side, make sure they're horizontal, and then using the tangent constraint, I'm going to select the curve and then the line, make sure they're tangent. And let's see what else is there to do. I'm gonna, to make sure that the curves are symmetrical, I'm going to use the undo that again. I'm going to use the horizontal constraint, click on the one point of the curve and click on the other. Oh, it's already over a constraint. Let's see what else can move right now. So it looks like the distance of this line can move, and that's because we haven't specified the angle between the two lines over here. So using the dimension tool, I click on one line and then click on the other. Try that again, click on one line, then click on the other. And I can specify that 16-degree angle that's needed, and now everything is fully constrained. So if I deactivate the sketch, I can now extrude. So I'm going to extrude, and for the depth, I'm going to specify according to the drawing, it's going to be 15 millimeters. Click OK. Now, the two solids are kind of disjoint right now. So in order to connect the two, I'm going to create a new sketch on top of this face of the second piece that we created. And I'm going to rotate around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the project to sketch. I'm going to project that face. And I want to keep everything from that face. So I'm just going to use the create sketch figure option and maintain association with source entity. And then right away I can deactivate the sketch. And then I'll use the extrude command. With extrude, I can change the type to geometry and then select the piece that I wanted to extrude to. And then click OK. Perfect. Now, rotating over onto this side, we're going to create that cylinder with the hole. So I'm going to create another sketch on this face now. And then here, I'm just going to use the circle tool to just create a circle and specify the diameter of 40. I'm now going to use the concentric constraint so that the centers of this arc over here and the center of this circle is the same. So using selecting the concentric constraint, I click on this arc and then click on the circle that we created, and now it's fully defined. I can now deactivate the sketch, use the extrude tool, and specify 18 millimeters as the depth. Now creating another sketch on top of this new face, I can now use the circle tool again and specify the hole that we want is of 25 millimeters. Once again, using the concentric constraint, click on the circle, click on the outer circle, and now that it's aligned, I'm going to deactivate the sketch, and then I'm going to use an extrude cut and select the type to be through all. Click OK. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to model this fin. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back into a side profile. So I'm going to create a sketch on top of this YZ plane, and that'll bring me to the side profile. And I'm going to project in a couple of things that I need to reference. So from the drawing, it says that I will need a arc, and that arc needs to be tangent to this outer circle. And likewise, it also gives me another dimension where from, I guess, the bottom of this, let's just call it leg, there is a 33 millimeter distance to a line that runs vertically, and that vertical line is just going to be a reference line, but our arc needs to be tangent to that as well. So that's what we'll do. So I'm going to use project to sketch. I'm going to project this curve that we need, and again, I want it to create reference figures. We know that we need this face because we need to create a reference line that's 33 millimeters away. So we'll select that face. Let's see. We probably will need this face as well because the arc needs to intersect with the cylinder. And let's also just That might be all that we need. But let's also project in these two edges so that we can align, so that when we close off the profile, we can make sure that it's aligned to these two edges. And then we want to maintain association and then click OK. So now, so there's two ways to do this arc. We can actually use the arc tool, or I'm going to use a circle. I found that the circle works better. So I'm just going to create a circle first. And it says that the radius of this arc is 100, which means that the diameter of the circle must be 200. I'm going to specify 200 and click OK. Now using the tangent constraint, I'm going to click on the circle and then click on the curve that we projected in. And now it's aligned over here. Now using the line tool, so from the bottom of this, let's call it leg, I'm going to run it outwards, drag it outwards, and enter, making sure it's 180 degrees, and enter in 33 millimeters as the offset. Oops. Press the wrong button. Sorry. Let me do that again. 33 millimeters, and make sure this is 180, and then press OK. And get out of that. So here, I'm just going to right-click on this line and then convert to reference figure. I'm going to draw another line that's vertically upwards, so making sure that the degree is 90. So I'm just going to draw arbitrary length, just tab over, making sure it's 90, and then press Enter to confirm, and then Escape to get out of that, and then also right-clicking on this line and then converting it to reference figure. So now going with the tangent constraint again, I'm going to click on the circle and then click on this reference line that we created. And it says unable to determine. Let me see. Why is that? 33 millimeters. Let me see. Can I move this around? It's tangent to this curve. Why isn't it allowing me to? Let me see. There we go. So I must have clicked on the axis or the plane instead of the line. But now I applied the tangent constraint to the circle and then also this line. And now notice that the circle is fully constrained. I can now use the trim tool and I can trim away this edge. And notice that it's still fully defined, which is what we want. Now, in order to extrude, we actually need to close off this profile. So I'm just going to draw an arc that connects these 2 points and then draw a line all the way down here. That would be close to where we need. So let's just do that. So using the arc tool, I'm going to select the radius as this center over here. Click on this existing point, click on this existing point, and now we have an arc over there. Similarly, let's see actually. Actually, right now this circle touches this line, but really we need another line that comes off of this arc that then touches the cylinder on this face. So let's just do that now. So I'm going to use this line. I'm just going to draw in a line somewhere, and I'm also going to, for now, let's just make it so it's like horizontal to the existing points on that cylinder. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come over here, and it'll connect to an existing point over here. And then I'm going to go all the way up to where we close that arc. And then that should be a fully closed sketch. I'm going to go and trim, using the trim tool, I'm going to trim away this extra piece from the arc that we don't need anymore. So I'm going to trim that. So now I will need to redefine some of this stuff. So just using the dimension, I'm going to click on this arc again, and again specify, let's see. Something is still able to move. But actually, let's add the other constraints first, and maybe that will get rid of this orange position undefined, not error, but warning. So we know that this line needs to be tangent to this arc. So I'm using the tangent constraint. I'm going to select this line and this arc, and that's done. Using the selection, I'm going to move this point. Let's see. What is it doing over here? So I can move this point. I need to, let's just make a horizontal constraint between these two existing points. So I'm going to use the horizontal constraint, select this point, and then select this other point over here to make it horizontal. I'm going to use the dimension tool to add that 12-degree angle. So pressing on this line, pressing on this existing line, and then adding 12 degrees. And yeah, so now my sketch is fully defined. And that's exactly what we want. So we can now deactivate the sketch or rotate over here. I'm going to select the extrude command, and I want to specify the type to mid-plane, and then I want to specify the depth in accordance to the drawing is 10. So I'm going to enter that. Now, this kind of looks okay, but one issue is that if you zoom in really close, we can see that there's it's tangent to this circle, but it's not fully touching. So in order for it to fully touch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and create another sketch on top of this face over here and just extrude it out a little bit more. So I'm going to create a sketch, select this, zoom in so I can select this face. And here I am on this face. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to project in that face. So go spin back around, rotate the camera. I want to project in, if I can get close enough, this face over here. And I do want the sketch figure because I am going to use these lines to extrude. I want to maintain association and click OK. I'm going to press reset view to get me back to this view. Now this only, because the face is only visible on one side, we want to mirror this face onto the other side of this axis as well, so it covers both sides. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the trim tool. I'm going to trim away this middle line because we don't need that. Can I do that? Let's see. Why isn't it letting me do that? Let me reset the view. Or actually, I can go and just select this middle, this edge over here in the middle. I can right click and then click delete. And then let's see. Oh yeah, it's deleted. So now I can just use the mirror tool and I just select these two edges over here, this one and this one, and I guess this bottom one over here as well. And I want to mirror it across. So selecting mirror axis, I want to mirror it across, mirror it across this Z axis, and then click OK. Everything's still fully defined, but now I have that rectangular profile that I can use to extrude into the cylinder. So I'm gonna click deactivate sketch. I'm gonna now go to extrude, and I'm gonna use to geometry, and I'm gonna select the cylindrical face. I'll click OK. So I know the difference is very minor, but now it's not just a single point that is tangent and touching. It's now this whole face is touching this cylinder. And now this fin is complete. Now rotating over here, we're going to create that little chin in the drawing. And here the main dimension is that there is an arc that is 100 millimeters in radius that will be used to define the chin. So let's do that. So I'm going to first create a sketch on this face. And I'm going to project in this entire face. And I'm just going to use create reference figure and maintain association. I'm then going to use the arc tool. And the center of this arc is going to be down here. So I'm going to click over here, and then I'm going to use the existing points. Let's see, existing points. I want to make sure there's no auto constraining done because we haven't defined the radius yet. And I don't want it to be coincident to anything existing. So I'm just going to click somewhere over here and then click over here. So it's on the line, but it's not fully defined. I'm going to use the dimension tool, and I'm going to dimension the radius of this, and I'm going to enter in 100 manually. I'll click OK. So now this arc is fully defined. And to complete the profile, I'm just going to use the line tool. I'm going to click over here, click on this existing point that we projected in, click on this existing point that we projected in, and then close it off by clicking on the end of this arc. And then we're done. So I can deactivate the sketch now. Everything's fully defined. And now I'm going to use extrude. And the amount that we want to extrude is going to be from the drawing. So from the back of this face, there's a 25 millimeter plus 15 millimeters, so 40 millimeters in total. And then I'm going to click OK. All right. So the next thing is creating the cylinder up on the top. And in order to do that, I just need to create a plane that is off of this XZ plane. And from the drawing, it says that it is 60 millimeters above the origin. So I'm going to enter the distance of 60. And then click apply and close. Now I can create a sketch on top of this plane. And here it gives me the center, the origin over here. So I'm just going to use the origin. I'm going to use the center circle tool, click start from the origin, and enter in the dimension of 35 as the diameter. And then from there, I'm going to deactivate the sketch. I'm going to click extrude. And then I'm going to use 2 geometry and then select the top of our model and then click OK. Now, with this new face, I'm going to create another sketch on top of this face, use the circle tool again, and then enter in the hole that is going to be 15 millimeters, and then press enter and deactivate the sketch. Now I'm going to do an extrude cut, and the depth we can actually do through all because the hole on the bottom is larger than the 15 millimeter hole here, but you know, whichever works. But I'm just going to use 2 geometry and select this inner face over here and then click OK. Now similarly, I'm going to now create another sketch on top of this XZ plane, and here I'm just going to draw in another circle and put in 25 millimeters as the diameter and click OK. I'm going to deactivate the sketch now, so you can see there's the cylinder over here. I'm going to use another extrude cut, and I'm going to use 2 geometry to the bottom of this chin and click OK. And that is we're close to being done with the part. We just now need to just fillet all of the edges. So opening up the fillet tool, I'm going to select this top edge over here, but the top cylinder, and it says that the radius of this fillet is 8. So I'm going to enter in 8 and click apply. And then from the chin, there's these 2 edges over here. I'm going to select both of these 2 edges, and the radius for that is 10. So I'm going to enter in 10 and click apply. And then there's this edge over here by the tail, or this fin, these 2 edges over here. So I'm going to select these 2 edges, and the radius for that is 17. So I'm going to enter in 17 and click apply. And then lastly, there's this edge over this edge over here with a radius of 100. So I'm going to select that over there, select the other side, enter in 100, and then click apply. And that is pretty much our model. To check our work, go to materials on the side, select from library, tool Toby, and we're working with the 1060 alloy. So we're going to select 1060, click apply, go to inspect, physical properties, calculate, and we get the mass of 1,217.0284 grams. And if we go to the video, go to the end, 1,217, 1,217. And that is it. That is our part. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this helped. Bye now.